The myth of the Satanic Community and other virtual delusions. The Internet, that ultimate means for the spread of mediocrity, spans the entire globe, and it has, for good or ill, a satanic presence. It is time to address some tendencies that, while previously hampered by snail mail low technology, have now been set loose to undercut our movement by turning it into a circus, with particularly poorly trained clowns taking center ring. The use of the adjective satanic with the noun community is oxymoronic. The use of the adjective satanic with the noun community is oxymoronic. Why? The process of creating a community implies that its members come out into the open and become quantifiable, defining and exposing themselves. This technique is almost always used by an assemblage of people who want to claim some form of victim status, who want to whine that they are oppressed, and thus agitate for some form of special dispensations for their members. This idea is anathema to Satanists and contrary to satanic principles. Recall Anton LaVey's dictum that the Church of Satan must remain a custard that cannot be nailed to a wall? While our philosophy is made abundantly clear through publicly available literature, the organization itself remains largely hidden. There is power in mystery, and it serves us well should some form of organized anti-Satanism actually gain political or social power. So here is a simple fact. There is no satanic community. There is no satanic community, nor should one ever exist. Please reread the previous line until it begins to sink in. Satanism is a unique philosophy that has spawned an even more unusual movement and an organization, the Church of Satan, which has found a means for facilitating the interaction of a membership comprised of radical individualists. It is, in an apparent paradox that is a third-side synthesis, an organization for non-joiners. An organization for non-joiners. The structural basis for the Church of Satan is the cabal concept. It is maintained, for the most part, as an underground cell system of individuals who share the basis of the philosophy created by Anton Szandor LaVey, but who find very unique ways of applying this philosophy towards their own personal goals. Above the surface, you might see some spokespersons and some discussion forums that have a public presence. But, like an iceberg, most of our membership remains hidden in the murky depths. Some new members mistakenly want to publish membership lists, as they fail to grasp this concept behind the structure of the organization. They still haven't shaken off preconceptions absorbed from herd culture. If after explanations they don't begin to grasp that they are still thinking in a non-satanic paradigm and thus they are working to counter our intentional structure, they may be asked to leave the organization. Many members have chosen to affiliate, but do not want to find others with whom to associate. Their reason for membership is to affirm their allegiance to the organization that publicly represents the philosophy that they hold dear, which gave a name to who they really are. These members do not interact with other members. They don't seek out fellow Satanists. They remain underground and pursue personal goals. We support these valued members who are non-joiners, and their commitment remains strictly confidential. Other members may find through our organization a means for locating others who share particular passions, not just an interest in Satanism per se. Our special interest groups admirably serve to kindle new projects among participating members. This last assembly, it should be noted, is not the majority of the total organization. Due to the present ease for finding other like-minded individuals provided by current communication technology, the intelligent Satanist has every means at his disposal to exercise on his own any social prerogative he might have. Over the past 35 years, we have learned a striking truth. Satanists are amazingly diverse individuals, and they may share very little in common beyond the fact that their approach to living leads them all to adopt the label Satanist. This is the reason why we generally do not have large gatherings of Church of Satan members. Nor do we have conventions, as this group of individuals would not get along with one another en masse. Look at the evidence for this in the grotto of online Satanism, which is a very small subset of people who call themselves Satanists. This bunch is the most contentious and cantankerous collection of curmudgeons ever seen in one place. So the very idea that these people could ever work together as a community is completely naive. Misguided idealism rather than satanic pragmatism. Satanists by nature allow their own tastes in such areas as politics and aesthetics. They have uniquely personal hierarchical systems of values that are not necessarily congruent with those of other Satanists. I know this to be a fact. There are certainly some common threads which can be deduced by considering the principles that undergird the Satanic Bible. Love of and respect for animals, a desire for swift justice, and an aesthetic sense that demands that things rise above the mediocre are some of these. When interests other than a mutual embracing of the philosophy created by Anton LaVey do match, then Satanists can develop very deep friendships and amazingly potent partnerships for attaining mutual goals. But just because two people call themselves Satanists does not mean that there will necessarily be such common denominators. To attempt to make this very loose and shadowy assemblage into something resembling other existing communities would mean disregarding the core principles of Satanism as a philosophy. Satanism as a movement would then become just another typical social device for human herding. Anton LaVey expressed his contempt for people who demonstrated the huddling instinct, explaining that it is a certain indication that they weren't Satanists at all, just sheep who want to pretend to be goats.